folks, welcome to Coffee and Colossians. I'm indoors today because, believe it or not, it's absolutely roasting hot outside and you'll probably hear the gentle whir of the air conditioning. But this is the last week of this. I think we'll have ended up doing 124, which seems to me a ridiculous amount for an epistle that has just 4 chapters. But I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. And we're still continuing with this. And you know, this last bit, this is a chapter when I would normally read it, I would just, you'd skim read through it, so names and various greetings and so on. And yet, I think chapter 4 is really where the rubber hits the road and how all this works out. So, we are still with Epaphras, verse 13, but I also want to do verse 14. Speaking of Epaphras, I vouch for him that he's working hard for you and for those at Laodicea and Hierapolis. Our dear friend Luke, the doctor, and Demas send greetings. Well, wow, there's a lot in that. 3 people. So let's just look at each of them. Epaphras, again, we've already mentioned him. A man who worked hard. Let's describe this here. He's working hard for you. Paul has several times spoken of contending hard, or the struggle that he had with them. I think I've probably mentioned this before, but I'll say it again. One of my pet hates is lazy ministers. Yes, there are pastors who overwork, but sometimes I meet pastors who complain about overwork and they're actually quite lazy. Paul was a hard worker. Epaphras was a hard worker. And Luke and Demas, let's come on to them. Our dear friend Luke, the doctor. Now, it's very interesting. Luke is only called the doctor here. I'm currently working through the book of Luke, trying to prepare for preaching it. And in fact, I think that what we're going to do when we finish Colossians is start going through Luke. And also Acts. I'm currently working through the book of Acts as well. And so getting to know Luke a bit better. This is the only time he's called the doctor. He's here in Rome with Paul and Mark. Mark possibly writing his gospel at this time. Luke's such a fascinating figure as well. He's a big man, I think. An intelligent person, a big-hearted man, loyal and faithful to Paul. To have a friend like Luke would be absolutely wonderful. Excuse me, I've just been cycling, so in this heat. The opposite of this is Demas. 1 Timothy 4:10, Demas, having loved this world, has forsaken me. Luke the doctor and Demas send greetings, but Paul had to face the fact that one of his close companions forsook him. Luke didn't. Mark kind of did and then came back. But Demas, because he loved the world, forsook Paul. Do you know, there are people in the church, and I hope that not one of you, you're not one of them rather, or that nobody's listening to this is, but there's an enormous danger that we give up the faith, not because of intellectual doubts, not because of spiritual struggles, but because we love the world. That was certainly Demas. So you've got 3 people here in the church. Epaphras, the minister. He's the one coming back, bringing the letter. Dr. Luke, who's recording what Paul has been doing and is ministering to him in Rome. And Demas, who at this point was his companion, but was to end up forsaking him. Church is always a mix, isn't it? I heard somebody today, and I just thought it was really, really helpful. I had a conversation with a colleague here, and they said something that I found personally very helpful. He talked about how too many churches were working on, and sermons and preachers were working on the finite rather than the infinite. The finite is when you have a project that you can complete. Done. We've completed it. Notice how Paul, throughout this, keeps talking about bringing to completion. But that's an infinite thing. What I mean by that is the work is always ongoing until Christ returns, until we are in heaven. until we are mature and fully assured and so on. But the work is always ongoing. In a sense, it's a work for the infinite. The idea that in a church you can say, we've completed this, we've done this. No, we haven't. That's one of the problems I have with all these kind of things, where here's our 10-year plan or whatever. Because look, our plan is for eternity, and I know we all kind of agree with that, but when we start fixing on the finite, I think it's too easy to forget the infinite. Well, 3 very finite people, 3 very different responses, but God was at work, and he will continue to be at work. God bless you, and hopefully see you tomorrow. Bye.